I want to talk about the power we have versus the power we think we have. Now I want to show you something quickly. Run with me to the book of Luke chapter 9. From verse 1, the Bible says that Jesus called to himself the disciples, the 12 disciples. He gave them power and authority to cast out demons and to cure diseases. Bible says that he sent them to preach the kingdom and to heal the sick, but there was a condition that was attached. The condition was they should take nothing. They were to embark on this journey with only what they had on them, the clothes that they had on them. They were not to take anything with them, no luggage, nothing. They were to go as they were, no change of clothes, nothing. That was the condition. Forward, the disciples come back and they tell him about everything they had done. The Bible tells us that Jesus went with his disciples to a deserted place. But when the multitudes heard, because they knew what God was able to do, what Jesus was able to do, they had heard the rumors. His reputation had preceded him. What do the crowds do? They follow them to the deserted place. Now, what happens is the disciples come to Jesus and they say, Lord, it is getting dark and we're in a deserted place. How about we send these multitudes, these crowds, out into the towns near us so that they can go and get shelter and food? Now watch this. Jesus Christ says to them, you give them something to eat. But their response is, but we have nothing besides 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. Watch this. They say, we have nothing but 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish, except we go out and buy more food because the crowds are a lot. But Jesus says, no, make them sit in groups of 50. The Bible says he gave thanks, and the fish and the bread were multiplied, so much so that it fed all of that crowd, and there was even left over. Now watch this. The disciples did not understand what power they had. They thought that the power they had was strength. You see, there's a difference between power and strength. Strength refers to physical ability, but power, my goodness, cannot be limited. It cannot be defined. Why? Because it is spiritual in nature, and therefore it is not bound by any limitation. Power is not one-dimensional, but it is multifaceted. Now what we find here is a discrepancy between the power they had versus the power they thought they had. Now look at this. When they received power, they thought that the power was only limited to healing the sick. The power was only limited to casting out demons. But Jesus Christ was not confused. He did not forget the exception that came with his command. He did not forget that he had explicitly told them not to take anything else, meaning that they did not have their wallets, meaning that they did not have their bank cards, meaning that they did not have money on them. They did not even have a change of clothes on them. Jesus Christ knew that the power they thought they had, my goodness, was more than the power they actually had. That is why he said, give them food. You give them food. He knew that the power that he had, my goodness, was not just a power to heal and a power to cast out. Now watch this. Now in Acts chapter 3, what do we find? We find Peter and John. They are walking towards the temple at the hour of prayer. When they see a lame man, this lame man, when he perceives them, what does he do? He asks them for alms. Now what is their response? They say, silver and gold I do not have, but that which I do have I will give you. Now understand this. They knew that the power that they had was not only a power limited, the power was able to do exceedingly abundantly and above all. They knew that I may not have the silver and the gold, but I do have power. Now listen to me. If the 12 disciples, my goodness, understood the kind of power that they had, they would not have doubted Jesus when he said feed them. They would have knew exactly what to do in order to feed the crowds. They were limiting their power based on what they thought they had, getting that the one who was commanding them is the one who gave them the power. So he knew what they could do, even though they did not know. He himself was commanding him based on what he had already placed within them. He had given them power, and the power he had given them was able to multiply. It was able to do exceedingly, it was able to do more than they could perceive. Meaning that sometimes times we limit the power that God has given us because of what we think we can do, because of our minds being limited. We think we understand that yes, God has given us power, but the power that God has given us is limited. It can heal the sick, maybe. It can cast out demons, maybe. But because we limit this power, we say this it can do, but this it cannot do. But look at Peter. Look at what he does. He says, silver and gold I may not have, but that which I do have I give you. Cannot confuse strength with power. You cannot limit the power that God has given you based on your understanding of it. Look, if you don't know something, you cannot make use of it. That is why the disciples were unable to practice the full strength, the full ability, the full experience of the power in its fullest form. Why? Because in their minds they had limited it only to casting out demons, only to healing the sick. They did not know that that power could also multiply that fish. They did not know that that power could also multiply the loaves of bread. Now I don't know if you are if you are standing like those 12 disciples and you are saying, Lord, you have given me power, but this power is only to do this and it's only to do that. It's only to do A and B. God is saying to you, stop limiting the power that I have given you. It is not limited to that which you think. Now I hear God saying, my goodness, my goodness, my goodness, Rebashiaka riende reboshiaka. The power that I have given you is not power that I have manufactured just for you. I have given you my power. The power that is within you is power that I have. It's the same power that you see me using to bless you, using to help you, using to uplift you, using to open doors. That same power that is within me, my goodness, is the same power that I have placed within you, my goodness. If only you knew the power that you hold, if only you knew what is in your hand. That is why my word says the things that Jesus Christ did are great, yes, but you shall do greater things than these, because the same power that is within me is the same power that I have placed within you. You cannot use it and you have not been using it because your thinking has been limited. You don't know the kind of power. You may not have money, but you've got power. You may not have connections, but you've got power. You may not have friends, but you've got power. You may not have medicine, but you've got power. I'm saying you may not have this or that, but you've got power. It's about time that you begin to use this power. This power that you've had within you for such a long time has been sitting idle because you don't understand the power that God has placed within you. Listen, God is saying you've been sitting there crying, praying for things that you can speak into existence. For I have given you power. I have given you power. The power that you seek is within you. You are looking outside for answers, but it's within you. You are looking next door, but it's within you. You've been waiting for somebody to come and save you, but the power is within you. Thus says the Lord, the power that you think you have versus the power that you actually have.